The Man at the Edge of the Property. Part 1. The First Sight. I grew up in a quiet, semi-rural part of Pennsylvania. My parents bought a small house on the outskirts of town, and our backyard opened into about an acre of woods. Not dense forest, but enough trees and brush that once the sun set, the back of our property turned into a black wall of shadows. I never liked it much, even as a kid. My dad would always say, "It's peaceful, safe. The deer walk right up to the fence line." He wasn't wrong, but there was something about the woods that always made me feel observed. The first time I saw him, I was 17. It was early October, just cool enough that the air had that bite to it. I had been sitting in the kitchen late at night, scrolling on my phone, when movement outside the window caught my eye. At first, I thought it was a deer. The way the figure stood near the treeline was so still, so perfectly rigid, that I convinced myself it was just my brain making shapes in the dark. But then I saw the faint glow of a lighter flare, the small red dot of a cigarette. Someone was standing at the edge of our yard, watching the house. I froze. My dad's rifle was locked up in the basement, and my mom was already in bed. I remember whispering my dad's name up the stairs, too scared to yell. By the time he came down, fumbling with his robe, the figure was gone. He told me I probably saw a hunter or someone cutting through the property. But he checked the yard with a flashlight, and there were no footprints, no broken grass, nothing disturbed at all. I tried to sleep, but every time the wind pushed branches against the glass, I swore I saw that tiny ember glowing again. Part 2. Escalation. The handprint stayed on my window for days. My mom scrubbed it off eventually, but I couldn't shake the image. The streaks in the condensation had been wide, almost like the fingers pressed hard against the glass. Too deliberate to be an accident. My dad called the local police the morning after I saw him. 2 officers came out, walked around the property, and took a report. They didn't find anything. No signs of forced entry. No footprints that time. They suggested it could have been a drunk neighbor or someone passing through the woods who got curious. But when one of the officers asked me to describe the man, I realized I couldn't. I hadn't seen his face clearly, not really. Just the outline, the height. I told him he was tall, broad-shouldered, maybe wearing a hood. Beyond that, nothing. The officer gave me that polite, dismissive smile I've seen cops give teenagers before. Like he was humoring me. Before they left, he said, "Keep your doors locked. If you see him again, call us right away." That night, I barely slept. Every creak of the house felt amplified. Every gust of wind against the siding made me jump. Around 2:15 a.m., I heard the phone ring again. My dad answered it this time. I crept to the top of the stairs to listen. His voice was firm, angry. "Who the hell is this? If you call here again, we'll trace the number." Silence. Then breathing. I didn't hear what came after, but I'll never forget my dad's face when he hung up. He looked pale, shaken, like something in that call rattled him to the core. When I asked what the caller said, he muttered, "Nothing. Just some sick joke." But I knew he was lying. Part 3. The break-in. A week later, I came home from school to find my mom sitting on the couch, wringing her hands. She looked terrified. While I'd been at class and my dad was at work, someone had been inside the house. Nothing was stolen, nothing broken, but drawers were left slightly open. The back door showed faint signs of being tampered with. The police came again, took another report, but offered the same half-hearted reassurances. "Maybe a repairman left it like this," one said. My mom swore no one had been scheduled to come by. That night, my dad stayed up with the rifle. He dozed off in his chair sometime around 4 a.m., but I couldn't sleep at all. Around 5, just as the first light of dawn was creeping in, I heard a soft knock. Not on the front door. Not even on the back door. On my bedroom window. I froze, staring at the glass. The blinds were down, but I could see the faintest shadow behind them. A shape. A person. The knock came again. 3 slow, deliberate taps. I wanted to scream for my dad, but my throat locked up. After a moment, the shadow shifted and disappeared. When my dad searched outside, there was nothing. No prints. No sign of anyone. But I noticed something when I finally pulled up the blinds later that day. The latch on the window, the one that locked it shut from the inside, had been flipped open. For the confrontation. We installed cameras after that. Motion-activated ones, covering the front porch, the back door, and the yard. It made me feel safer, at least for a little while. But about 2 weeks later, something happened that made my blood run cold. We checked the footage one morning after the motion alert went off around 2:30 a.m. At first, it was just the usual, branches swaying, the wind triggering the sensor. But then, clear as day, the man appeared on camera. He wasn't lurking at the treeline anymore. He was standing right in the middle of the yard, looking straight into the lens. Hooded, face obscured by shadows, just staring, for almost 3 full minutes. Then he walked off into the woods. We showed the police, but even with video evidence, they couldn't do much. Unless he trespasses inside the home, there's not much we can charge him with, they said. That was the night my dad started sleeping with the rifle beside him. But nothing could have prepared us for what happened next. At exactly 3:07 a.m., I woke up to the sound of glass breaking. My mom screamed. My dad shouted. The dogs barked like they were being torn apart. Someone was in the house. Part 5. The Vanishing. The intruder didn't make it past the living room. My dad fired a warning shot, and by the time the police arrived, the man was gone. No trace of him, just shattered glass, muddy boot prints, and the lingering stench of cigarette smoke. The police launched a formal investigation then. They patrolled the area more often, questioned neighbors, even searched the woods. But they never caught him. The calls stopped after that night. So did the sightings. Weeks passed, then months, and slowly, life returned to some version of normal. But here's the part that keeps me up even now, years later. About a year after it all ended, we moved out of that house. Too many bad memories, too much unease. A few months later, out of morbid curiosity, I checked the property records online to see if anyone had bought it. Someone had. A man, tall, broad-shouldered, with a faint scar running along his jaw in the photo attached to the deed. The new owner, the same man I'd seen at the edge of the woods, the one who had been watching us. All that time, he hadn't just been stalking the house. He'd been waiting for it to become his. And eventually, it did.